ribbon, put this on the left side of the banner. You'll put this on the right side of your banner. Right side of your banner. Something on the left.
Got one more there? Don't tear them just yet. Yeah. You can put it on, but don't tear it just yet.
If you have a cell phone, please put it into silent mode at this time. Service will be conducted by Rabbi Paul Cohen.
Dear friends, as we are about to begin the service for Irwin Berkley, memorial tribute of love to his life, to his love of each of you, there's a ceremony, a ritual that we perform. It's called Keriah, and the Hebrew word literally means tearing. It comes to us from our ancestors who, when they heard about the loss of a loved one, would tear the article of clothing that they were wearing. It was a sign of grief, a sign of sadness to be sure, but also a sign of the confusion and sometimes even the anger that we feel when someone that we love is taken from our midst. The Keriah ribbon, which we use today, also serves as an outward sign to those who will see us in the coming days that there has indeed been a tear in the fabric of our lives. So without having to say a word, people will see the ribbon and they will know how to respond accordingly. And at a time like this, when it is perhaps most difficult to offer words of blessing, we're actually given words by our tradition to say before we tear the ribbon. And I invite you to recite the line of the Hebrew and then the line of the English, repeating after me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Adonai Eloheinu,
Melech haolam
Melech haolam,
Dayan ha'emet.
Dayan ha'emet.
Blessed are you, God,
Blessed are you, God,
ruler of the universe,
ruler of the universe,
the judge of truth.
the judge of truth.
I invite you now to tear the ribbon, not all the way through, but you can either tear from the bottom or from the side. As we continue with this memorial tribute, listening to the beautiful stories shared of Irwin's life and what he meant to each of you, what he meant to his friends, to the people with whom he worked, what was most important to him. I was thinking of this poem that was written by Merritt Malloy, and it's called Epitaph, and I would like to read it in Irwin's honor, in his memory. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on your eyes and not on your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Death has taken our beloved Irwin Berkley. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation, in their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Irwin's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For his companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It tells of our kinship with the divine, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Psalm 23, the Shepherd's Song. Adonai ro'i lo echsar, Bino teshe yarbitzeni, al me menuchot, Yenahaleni. Nafshi yishovev, Yancheni v'magle tzedek, Yancheni v'magle tzedek, Leman shemo. Gam ki helech v'getz al mavet, Lo hirara ki ata imadi. Shivtecha umishantecha ema yenachamuni. Taharoch lefanai, shulchan neged torerai. Dishanta vashemen roshi, kosi revaya. Ach tov achesed yirdefuni, kol yemei chayai, v'shavti bevet Adonai leorach yamim. Adonai rohi lo echsar, Adonai rohi lo echsar. In the pamphlet that you received here at the cemetery, you can find the translation of the 23rd Psalm in the inside cover. And I invite you, if you wish, to join together with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. As we were speaking yesterday, I remember a theme that kept coming through. And Avi, I think it was something that you shared and that everyone I could see nodding in agreement, that Irwin, among his many qualities, was a man of great integrity. And so I want to read these words from Psalm 15 that I think capture the man that Irwin was and the lessons that he tried to instill in all who are privileged to be a part of his family circle, his circle of friends, and the people with whom he worked. Adonai mi yagur bo alecha mi yishkon bahar kodshecha. God, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain. Those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless but honor those who revere God, who give their word and come what may do not retract, who do not exploit others, who do not take bribes. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, yehi shem Adonai mevorach. God has given and God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. In ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and that there is strength in faith. With Job, we say, Adonai natan, God, you have given. You gave us a loved one, Irwin Berkley, who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in his life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai lakach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and your love. As we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach, blessed be the name of God, now and forever. Amen. I invite you to take these next few moments to call forward the cherished memories that you have of Irwin, and to take these moments of silent reflection to relive the blessing that each of those moments brought into your lives. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, be acceptable in your sight. God, our rock and our Redeemer, God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. The measure of man. Not how did he die, but how did he live? Not what did he gain, but what did he give? These are the units to measure the worth of a man as a man, regardless of birth. Not what was his station, but had he a heart? And how did he play his God-given part? Was he ever ready with a word of good cheer to bring back a smile, to banish a tear? Not what was his shrine, nor what was his creed. Not what did he, but had he befriended those really in need. Not what did the sketch in the newspaper say, but how many were sorry when he passed away. Karen, I was thinking especially of these words, as you said to me just before we began, of how many people have reached out and have told you how much they loved Irwin and what an impact that they had, that he had on their lives. If nothing else, the family that Irwin cherished throughout his life was really what he was most proud of. The love that he felt so lucky to be a part of. Your husband, Karen, for 38 years, a loving father of 7 children, Lonnie, Avi, and Abra, and there's Susan and Tony. from his marriage to Eloise of blessed memory, Jonathan and his Aaron, David and his Erica, Stephen and his Brenda and Sarah, and the grandchildren, right? 8 of them: Brandon, Abe, Sylvia, Eli, Aaron, Theodore, Ari, and Rowan, and great-grandchildren, great-granddaughter, Maya. I didn't miss anybody, did I? And his cherished sister, Gail, and his nephew Mitchell, and niece Lauren, and their children. What a blessing. What a blessing. Not how did he die, but how did he live? Not what did he gain, but what did he give? These are the units to measure the worth of a man as a man, regardless of birth. Irwin was born in Chicago on the Great West Side to Sarah and Sam Berkowitz some 86 years ago. He and his sister Gail were very close throughout their lives together. Irwin would drive with his dad on his delivery route, delivering milk and cheese and eggs. In fact, he learned how to drive a 6-shift. I think he was only 12 years old at that time. But more than this, he learned his strong work ethic, his commitment to Judaism, and the importance of family. He was always working. He worked at Wrigley Field. He was also a lifelong Cubs fan. He sold shoes as well. He was a hard worker. He enjoyed playing as well, playing sports too, football and soccer and martial. Fond memories shared of going horseback riding with the older kids, and how when he was hit in the face with a branch that he would not cry. He didn't want to embarrass himself in front of the older kids. There were stories of sleeping out in Douglas Park in the summer and vacation at Fox River Heights, Section 3 and 4. Irwin attended Northwestern University for his undergraduate degree and went on to receive his Juris Doctorate, also from Northwestern School of Law. He served for a brief time in the United States Army to a grateful nation. Lonnie shared how much he loved the law and never missed her moot court work when she was a law student. Irwin met and fell in love with Eloise and brought Lonnie and Avi and Abra into this world. Sadly, that marriage ended. Some are lucky to find love once. Irwin found it again with Karen, his wife of 38 years. Their love brought Jonathan, David, and Stephen and Sarah into our world. He felt so blessed, so lucky to have 7 children. He even joked about wanting to have one more. His children all have fond memories of playing basketball, racquetball, although there was a broken nose that Avi suffered as a result of that when he started to get the better of his dad. Running, Lonnie shared she was always going to beat him in running and never quite did that. Flag football, tennis, Sarah shared how he taught her to always stay on your toes. Another life lesson, always be prepared for anything. He was very competitive, would not go easy on them and let them win. Not everyone gets a trophy. These are also great life lessons. Even as one of the older dads, David said that he was always the first one out to get out there and play. Not what was his station, but had he a heart? And how did he play his God-given part? Was he ever ready with a word of good cheer to bring back a smile, to banish a tear? Abra shared how Dad loved to give speeches and toasts and personal pep talks, how he could work a room, a real schmoozer, a true salesman. Sarah shared how commanded attention. Stephen said this never faded, and on a trip to Vegas, he marveled at how Dad could own a room with grace and modesty. Jonathan described Irwin's unwavering confidence. Abra said he made people feel good. Karen shared that he was a really good friend, positive, complimentary, and kind. Never a bad word about anyone. Indeed, he was positive and encouraging. Sarah shared this beautiful story of a friend of hers who had finally made it on Broadway in her 30s, and that he was one of the first people who knew when she was little, told her mom that she was going to make it. She was going to be a star. Avi shared that Dad was so generous, almost to a fault. A very soft touch, would write a check to anyone who was in need and who asked. He took care of people, never expecting or asking for anything in return. He was present. He was there. Abra shared that Dad felt so blessed, felt like the richest man in the world because of this large and wonderful family. Most proud of this, most of all, though he was successful in so many of his pursuits. After practicing law for many years, he discovered that he really had a passion for real estate. Avi shared how, after his family, he loved work, loved the idea of making the deal even when he no longer needed the money. For 40 years, Irwin was president and CEO of Century Development Group. And through this company, Irwin spearheaded developments of single-family and multiple-family units, shopping centers, and affordable housing. He enjoyed helping out so much, doing the right thing because it was the right thing to do. In addition to real estate, Irwin opened Health Connections, a medical facility and a private home health agency. By 1997, Irwin built Health Connections into the largest unaffiliated freestanding home health agency in Illinois. He was at the forefront in the development of home delivery of medical services. He also prided himself on providing high-quality housing to the underserviced and overlooked communities. He built a 100-bed senior living community in rural Illinois, which became a model for assisted living facilities throughout the nation. I remember Lonnie sharing how important it was that he had reached out to children who were underprivileged, that he provided an opportunity for them to be successful in life. Avi, as I said, shared that Dad was a man of great integrity who assumed this in others. His word was his bond, and a handshake sealed the deal. He saw the good in people and assumed the good. Not what was his shrine, nor what was his creed, but had he befriended those really in need. Not what did the sketch in the newspaper say, but how many were sorry when he passed away. Irwin had a strong sense of community, his Jewish identity that he instilled in his children, and he was always able to find ways to make the world a better place through Tikkun Olam. Not just a write a check guy, he was a go and do. Jonathan shared that Thanksgiving and Christmas, remembering the kids going to help out at a soup kitchen in Inglewood, putting faith into action. Irwin was passionate about Israel and related organizations. He was involved with Bar Ilan University, the Jewish United Fund, the Jewish National Fund, AIPAC. He jumped on a plane to go to Israel during the Six-Day War and then again in the Gulf War to show his support. Sarah emphasized that he loved being Jewish. And I'd never heard this word before. I like it very much, that he was Jugocentric. I like that. He lived his Jewish values through family, work, holidays, and synagogue and community. He was even involved at Temple Jeremiah with our Family Promise program. Irwin was a father figure to many, and for his ever-present can-do attitude, he was well known. David shared that Dad said, "Boy, I really hope I recover from this." He was a fighter and always had such a positive outlook. And I remember he chastised me just a few days ago when I accidentally used a word in the past tense. He said, "I'm still here." His unwavering support for his children and grandchildren, always ready with the empowering pep talks, with his sense of immense ruach spirit and a champion always for the underdog. Sarah shared how he always made you feel special, made so many people smile. His extended family all looked up to him. When Gail's husband passed away, he was right there for Lauren and for Mitchell as well as for Gail, taking them under his wing as if they were his own. Abra shared how he was so involved in her children's lives as well, all the grandchildren's lives, as much as he could. The measure of a man. This is the measure of Irwin. Not how did he die, but how did he live? He lived well, with a positive attitude. Not what did he gain, but what did he give? He left this world a much better place for his having been in it. These are the units to measure the worth of a man as a man, regardless of birth. Not what was his station, but had he a heart? Irwin's heart was immense. And how did he play his God-given part? He was God's partner in helping to make our world a better place. Was he ever ready with a word of good cheer to bring back a smile, to banish a tear? Of course he was. His wonderful pep talks and positive attitude. Not what was his shrine nor what was his creed, but had he befriended those really in need? He was always reaching out. Not what did the sketch in the newspaper say, but how many were sorry when he passed away. For all who are privileged to be touched by his love, his life, Irwin Berkley, a beloved son, a beloved husband, father, brother, grandfather, great-grandfather, and friend. May his memory always be for a blessing, and to this let us say, Amen. El Male Rachamim, the memorial prayer. I invite you to rise. Karen, I invite you to rise. Thank you. El Male Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Amitzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim Utehorim, Kezohar Kia Masirim, Et Nishmat Yitzchak Moshe Ben Zalman Herschel, Shalach Leolamo, Bal HaRachamim, Yastireu Beseter Kenafav Leolamim, Vayitzror Bitzror Chaim Et Nishmato, Adonai Unachalato, V'tanuach v'shalom al mishkavo, v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Irwin Berkley, Yitzchak Moshe Ben Zalman Herschel, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and together we say, Amen. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The Spirit returns to God who gave it. It is only the house of the Spirit which we now lay within the earth, for the Spirit itself cannot die. Receive in mercy, O God, the soul of our departed Irwin Berkley. Grant him that everlasting peace which you have prepared for us in the world to come. Though no human eye has seen, nor ear has heard, nor mind has grasped it, still is our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. O God, help us to understand that grief and love go hand in hand, that the pain which loss inflicts is the measure of love that is stronger than death. But we cry in the anguish of our hearts, may we be like children who know that their parent is near and who cling unafraid to the trusted hand. In this spirit, O God, do we commit all that is precious to us to your keeping, as we repeat words hallowed by the generations, the words of the Kaddish prayer, which you can also find in the pamphlet you received here at the cemetery. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirute v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Omei Omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'it hadar, v'it ale, v'it halal, shmei dekutsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru amin. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amin. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amin. May God grant peace to all who mourn the passing of Irwin Berkley, and bring comfort to all the bereaved who are among us. And together let us say, Amen. At the end of the day, we gently tuck our children in for the night. At the end of a person's life, the last act of Gemilut Chasadim, the last act of loving kindness that we can do for him, is to cover his grave. In a moment after the casket has been lowered, you will have the opportunity to participate. There will be small cups, Dixie cups, for each of you to take and to place 3 scoops within the grave, 3 scoops of earth. Friends, for those who wish, you can place 3 cupfuls of earth. Avi, if you want to use a wastebasket right there. Looks like it's really Yeah.
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
tent.
So let's do that. And then in-laws.
They can start doing what they're doing.
We're all going back to kind of the tent